What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, a little bit of a different setup, but that's because I just got done recording my top 25 reaction and posting of my personal top 25, right? But today, what I'm doing is you're going to get two videos today. You're going to get this one now, which I'm actually recording the night before, so I can get it out when I'm getting this video out to you guys. But it is my college football playoff and New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. We just saw or at least I did about an hour ago, just saw the playoff rankings, saw all of that good stuff right there, what the playoff committee had to think. You also saw what I had to think as well. And if you didn't watch that one, I encourage you to go watch it down in the description, or not in the description. I won't link it down there, but if you feel like watching it, go there. It's just on my channel page. But again, today, college football playoff predictions and New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. So if you guys are excited, you want to see more college football content from me, you enjoy this video, please consider hitting the like, subscribe button. Also leave a comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. I'm open to all thoughts and opinions. Again, open mind channel. Feel free to speak your mind down there. Just don't go too far with anything, right? But yeah, thanks for the support as of late. Any support you can show for the channel means a lot to me. So let's go ahead and get into my college football playoff predictions. That's what we're going to start with, my playoff predictions, and then we'll get into the New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. Here it is. Here are my current playoff predictions, and let me explain why I did so. So again, I don't normally like putting out playoff rankings before the playoff, or I don't normally like putting out playoff predictions before the playoff rankings come out. Now that the playoff rankings are out, I'm posting predictions for you guys. So Georgia is here at number 1. I don't think people are going to argue with me there. Georgia has played phenomenally all year. Stetson Bennett, again, I would like to see the offense open up the playbook, maybe see some more deep shot, some more risk being taken, but they haven't had to, right? All the offense has to do right now is play good, complementary football because that defense is playing so well. So all Stetson Bennett needs to do is JT Daniels need to do, not lose the game on the offensive end. Let your defense take over control of the game because that's what's worked for you all season. I wonder what's going to happen once Georgia faces a dynamic offense later on. But again, I don't think there's a team left on Georgia's schedule that can beat them. Possibly Alabama getting into the SEC championship game. But again, if Bama gets to Atlanta, right, you don't see Bama on here. Bama was ranked second by the playoff committee just earlier yesterday. Well, earlier today for me, but earlier yesterday for you guys. So, yeah, I think Georgia's going to beat Bama in Atlanta. In fact, I think Georgia will beat Bama, or Georgia will beat whoever ends up playing in Atlanta. They are the number 1 team for the reason. I can't see them losing anymore. They are making the playoffs. That is a given. Ohio State is here at number 2. Here's where some debate might come in. The playoff rankings had Oregon ahead of Ohio State. Do I personally agree with that? No, but I see why the committee did it, and I don't have an argument for it at all. I have no huge problem with it. Do I agree with it right now? No, you guys know I have Ohio State at 4, Oregon at 7 in my personal rankings. The committee had Oregon at 4, Ohio State at 5. Again, I don't have a problem with that. But for the Ohio State Buckeyes, they're playing some really good football right now. I know they looked vulnerable at times in that game against Penn State, but also at times they played really, really well in that game. So for Ohio State, when you're going to compare the resumes of Ohio State, Oregon, right now, they may look fairly similar, although Oregon with that polarizing loss to Stanford and the struggle performance against Cal might deter some people. But for Ohio State, you just beat a good Penn State team that I still have ranked. You beat a Minnesota team that is now in my rankings. You have to play Michigan State and Michigan later down the line. If you win those are resume building wins. Definitely get you into like top 10 strength of record, things like that. And then whoever you play in Indianapolis, whether that be Minnesota again, Iowa, Wisconsin, whatever, Ohio State is going to have a playoff resume by the end of the year saying they don't lose another game. And that loss to Oregon, again, it's not a bad loss because Oregon, they're starting to look like the team that played and beat Ohio State in week 2. But again, you have to look at the entire body of work. And for Oregon right now with that loss to Stanford, and maybe I see them dropping a game somewhere else because I have Oklahoma at number 3, not an Oregon team, or maybe even throw Oregon in for Cincinnati at number 4. But Oklahoma's here at number 3. Again, Oregon, if I had room for number 5, they would be number 5. Trust me. I just think Oregon barely misses it. I think Ohio State will beat them out with resume. Everyone in the Pac-12 has 3 or more losses as of right now. Also, a big reason why I think Oklahoma's in here. I think Oklahoma's been struggling through this season. Of course, they have not played a complete game yet. I talked about that yesterday in my top 25 poll video and reaction to the playoff rankings. But for Oklahoma, they need to start playing a complete brand of football. And I think they're going to start to do that after the bye week. Again, they have some really hard games coming up. Baylor, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and then the Big 12 championship game. But if they get through that stretch unscathed, I think Oklahoma is definitely a playoff team, and they are at number 3 for me. Yes, they struggled against Kansas. They struggled against Tulane. Blowing out Western Carolina, that, again, is no big deal. They struggled against Nebraska. Like, they've struggled against all these teams that aren't great, right? I think at the end of the day, when you look at the entire body of work, Oklahoma will be a playoff team. I truly do believe that. That is why I have them here at number 3. And number 4, it was close between Cincinnati and Oregon, but I have to give it to Cincinnati. A win on the road against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's best win is against Wisconsin. Again, who else has Notre Dame beat? You can throw that question up there as well. North Carolina still got some talent. Virginia Tech has still got some talent. USC, you could maybe even argue, is a decent enough team there as well. But for Notre Dame, beating Wisconsin, if Notre Dame goes 11-1, it really helps Cincinnati's cause. And again, it's highly likely that Notre Dame's going to go 11-1. They don't really have a whole lot left on their schedule, right? But for Cincinnati, you have SMU left on the schedule. That's a resume building win. SMU's pretty darn good. You have possibly SMU again or Houston in the American Athletic Championship game, right? That, again, is another, in my opinion, resume building win. Now, the committee did not have either of those teams ranked, which, again, is a problem if you are a fan of Cincinnati, because right now, if you're a Cincinnati fan, you're a fan of Georgia. You're a fan of I don't think it cares which Big Ten team you root for, because one of them is going to come out of that pack. You're probably rooting for Oklahoma to take a loss somewhere in the Big 12 to kind of beat each other up. You're probably rooting for Oregon to take a second loss there as well. But there's a lot of things that Cincinnati probably needs to go their way to still make it into the playoffs. But as of right now, I like Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati is a playoff team as of right now. From what I have seen throughout all 130 teams, I think Cincinnati is one of the best 4 teams. Yes, they haven't played super well against Navy or SMU, but when you look, Navy or Tulane, when you look, teams have struggled with Tulane also. Teams have also struggled with Navy. SMU is one of those teams. So Cincinnati I have in here at number 4. It's open for debate. Leave your top 4 in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you stand right now. Again, this is kind of projecting a little bit towards the future, but also based off of what I've seen right now. I do think Ohio State has a pretty solid chance to run the table. Again, some really hard games against Michigan State, Michigan coming up. Then the game in Indianapolis, Oklahoma has to stop sleepwalking through their schedule. Cincinnati needs some help from the outside. And Georgia, again, I think is in no matter what. So leave your top 4 in the comment section down below. Let's go with my New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. Again, both of these playoff semifinals will be played on New Year's Eve of this calendar year, with the championship game being on January 10th, 2022 in Lucas Oil Stadium. So on now to the New Year's 6 predictions. The Peach Bowl. Notre Dame and Wake Forest ranked 10th and 9th respectively by the playoff committee yesterday. Again, Notre Dame sitting at 7-1, very likely chance that they improve to 11-1 over these last 4 games. No one really left on their schedule that makes you go, wow, that's a good team. But Notre Dame, again, that's why they have a really good chance to go 11-1 and end up here. And Wake Forest, I have as the representative from the ACC. I think Wake Forest is going to win the ACC. And they are going to be represented here in the Peach Bowl, because, again, the Orange Bowl is being used as a playoff semifinal, so no ACC team in here. But for Wake Forest getting into the Peach Bowl, I think it's a great story. You could still see a team like Pitt, NC State win the ACC. I think right now it'll end up being Wake Forest, possibly an undefeated team coming into this one as well. Might have just missed out on the playoffs. I think they're going to get to play Notre Dame here in the Peach Bowl. This game is on December 30th. Of this calendar year. And if this game happens, I think it'll be a lot of fun to watch. But again, Notre Dame, highly likely chance to go 11-1, while Wake Forest, again, they don't have anyone super huge left on the schedule, but North Carolina, Clemson, NC State, Boston College, Each poses their own set of challenges. I think it's going to be hard for Wake Forest to remain unbeaten, but I still do have them as of right now winning the ACC. So moving on here, the Fiesta Bowl, another New Year's Six bowl game. All the other New Year's Six bowl games are going to be played on New Year's Day, of course, New Year's Day of 2022. So Michigan sitting right now at 7-1, 4-1 in the conference. Of course, the only loss to Michigan State just last week. For this Michigan team, I think it's a good team. This is a good team. They support one of the best running back duos in the nation with Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum. There are some nice some nice wide receivers out there as well in the skill corps. The passing game has started to find its foot as of late, right? And the defense led by Aiden Hutchinson, you could argue one of the best in the nation. In fact, they're top 10 in scoring defense. This Michigan team is still really good, but again, you got to play Penn State. You have to play Ohio State left on the schedule. And with how Ohio State's playing, I don't necessarily think Michigan, while I think they can win the game, absolutely think they can win the game, I'm betting on Ohio State right now. That is just what I'm saying. Again, because I had Ohio State in the playoff, Michigan falls here to New Year's Six Bowl. And it's not the Rose Bowl because Michigan State beat them, right? So Michigan State would have the head-to-head, and then they would go to the Rose Bowl because no one from the Big Ten West is going to the Rose Bowl unless absolute chaos happens. But for this game, or for Michigan right here, I think Fiesta Bowl is a good spot. And for Auburn, you guys know how much I like Auburn. In fact, they were my number 10 team in the poll. And hey, that is why I have them here in the Fiesta Bowl. Not a bad place to be for Auburn at all, considering the circumstances they had coming into the year, what they had on their schedule. This was a really, really interesting Auburn team coming into the year, and that they have proven that they are one of the better teams in the nation, at least in my opinion. I think they're going to get a shot. Bo Nix, Tank Bigsby and company are going to get a shot to play in the Fiesta Bowl once the season is coming to end. At least that's what I'm projecting right now. All right, moving on here to the aforementioned Rose Bowl. Again, Oregon just barely misses out on the college football playoff, so I put them in the Rose Bowl facing, again, the aforementioned Michigan State Spartans. Michigan State would get in here with the win over Michigan, right? And, of course, with Ohio State making the playoff, Michigan State's only option would be to go to the Rose Bowl, which not a bad place for Michigan State at all. I think if you're a Spartan fan, you have to be happy with the Rose Bowl. Of course, the way things are looking now, the playoffs are absolutely within reach. But ultimately, Ohio State still on that schedule on the road in Columbus. That's going to be a tricky game to play. Penn State is still on the schedule as well. That's going to be another tricky one. And then, again, if they happen to get to Indianapolis to the Spartans, you still have to play, again, someone from the Big Ten West. And, again, that might not be a great matchup for them either. But regardless, this Michigan State team is full of talent. Kenneth Walker has been lighting it up as of late. Michigan State absolutely deserves, well, he's been lighting up the entire season, actually. Michigan State, I think, absolutely deserves a spot in the New Year's Six Bowl, no matter what happens the rest of the season, unless, of course, they drop their last 4 games, but I don't see that happening. And meanwhile, Oregon in here, again, they just missed out on the playoffs. They have a great win over Ohio State, but I would argue if you put Ohio State and Oregon on a neutral field, say AT&T Stadium in Dallas, right? I think Ohio State would be favored and they would win the game with the way the teams are playing right now. Oregon is starting to look like that same team that beat Ohio State. And granted, that was without Thibodeau and Flo. Now they have Thibodeau and Flo back, and they're still kind of playing So Oregon's going to be an interesting team to watch the rest of the way. Again, everyone in the Pac-12 has 3 or more losses as of right now. Again, that can increase to 4 or more losses by season's end. But for Oregon, I think Rose Bowl, great spot to be. The playoff is absolutely in reach. Well, what I'm projecting now is that Oregon will be headed to Pasadena the second time this year to make a trip back to the Rose Bowl to play for much bigger stakes than if they were just playing UCLA, right? Okay. And then the Sugar Bowl, Alabama did not make the college football playoff in my mind, so they will be represented here in the Sugar Bowl. It's currently set at 7-1. Again, they still have a fantastic chance to make the playoff. They control their own destiny. Bryce Young has played really, really well this season, as has guys like Brian Robinson. Jamison Williams is absolutely playing out of his mind right now. And then you also have guys like John Mechie, Billingsley as well. Some really, really good players at Alabama, especially also when you look on the defensive end. This is a really, really good team at Alabama. Obviously, but I think they lose to Georgia in Atlanta and just miss out on the college football playoffs. That's why they're here. And then Oklahoma State here as well. Again, Oklahoma State, I feel like with that win over Baylor, they're going to go ahead and get the nod to play in the Big 12 championship game against Oklahoma. And whether or not they win or lose in the regular season, I do, like I said, think Oklahoma is going to beat Oklahoma State twice and beat Baylor and Iowa State. So that's just what I'm projecting right now. Again, I think this bye week is really going to help the Sooners, or at least it should, right? But Oklahoma State would be that second best team from the Big 12. Defense has played well this year. Sanders has played well at times this year as well. Oklahoma State, absolutely deserving of a New Year's Six bowl spot, and that is where they will be against the Alabama Crimson Tide on New Year's Day. So there you have it. I'm going to leave you guys back with my top four again. It's Georgia, Ohio State, Cincinnati, and Oklahoma. I thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do anything you can. Help support the channel. Really does mean a lot to me. I will be uploading playoff predictions every single week from now on, so you guys can expect that video. And yeah, so what will happen now is Tuesdays, you'll get my top 25 and playoff ranking reaction in comparison as well. And then for Wednesdays, which the day this video is going up, you'll get my playoff predictions and everything like that. So as always, guys, remember to play hard, tailgate harder. I will see all of you guys later today, actually, with my recap of the month of October and where the playoff picture stands as of right now. So again, play hard, tailgate harder. See all of you guys later today. Goodbye.